What's up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. Today I'm testing one of the most popular baits in the world. This is the Yamamoto Senko. This is a stick bait that has caught billions of fish around the world. This bait, there's nothing special to it. It's just a classic stick bait where it's literally just a worm with nothing really to it. It's just, here, this is a Senko right here. Nothing about it, but when you toss it out there, I love throwing it wacky rig. So wacky rigging is when you put the hook right through the middle of the worm. I'm gonna throw it out there, and when it lands in the water, it's gonna fall like this. And it's gonna fall super slowly. And the cool part is, when it falls, the tail ends, like the sides, wiggle back and forth when it falls down. And that just triggers fish no matter what time of the year. When it's cold, when it's hot, it catches them every single day. I have 20 different types of stick baits here that could give that same action that the Yamamoto Senko does. Some of them not so much. Some of them give off a different action that it's not bad, it's good, but sometimes the bass want it a different way. I've had fish bite stick baits that, like, the stick bait doesn't move, it falls to the side, it falls straight down like this. Fish love it. It all depends, but the classic way, and I personally think the best way, is when you make it fall like this and the sides wiggle back and forth. I know fish love it. I've caught thousands of fish doing it. All the baits behind me, I've tried to get them exactly the same, meaning I've tried to get them as close to 5" as I can, just so it's a lot more accurate of a test. I'm gonna be rigging it with the Gamakatsu Finesse Wide Gap hook in a size 1. In a size 1, not 1/0, size 1. Everyone has their different opinion on what size hook to use. I've personally used the size 1 for like a 5" Senko, and I've never had a problem with it. It's always worked. Here's the thing, when I'm doing these tests today, when I throw it in the aquarium, I'm not gonna put any type of O-ring, I'm not putting any saddle, wacky saddle, I'm not putting anything to keep that hook on, because I want to give you the most accurate, like, sight of how it works in the water. I've gotten all these baits as similar of colors as possible for no reason, just so you can compare it even better. I've tried to get them all into a green pumpkin, like a watermelon color, like a baby bass. There's a couple of them I had to get in black and blue, and there's a couple of them that are kind of big. So we're gonna see if all these other brands behind me can compare to the classic Yamamoto 5" Senko. All right, guys, this is the Yamamoto 5" Senko. I'm throwing this on 6-pound test. Let's see how it looks. See that wobble right there? That's what you want. That's what you want right there. Slight wobble right there is exactly what you want. I'll throw it this way here. Okay, so notice how the ends are the only things that are wobbling. That's what gets it going. That's what makes the fish want it super bad right there. All right, so guys, this is what the Yamamoto looks like. This is the best stick bait on the market. You can't get much better than that wobble right there. So let's move it on. Let's go to the first one. All right, guys, first one up is the Gambler Fat Ace. This one, I've heard amazing things. I've heard people tell me that they're nothing different from a Senko, a true Senko. These things look exactly the same. There's no color changes. There's no style changes. It looks exactly the same. I got it in green pumpkin, so let's see if it can compare to the Senko. All right, wow, that is a super slow fall. I'm not seeing any wiggling on it. It doesn't flutter like a classic Senko would. Yep, that's a really slow fall. But hey, that's not always a bad thing, guys. Sometimes they want it just a slow fall and no action at all. I've caught fish on days with a Senko that has no action at all, and it works just as good. It's a day-by-day thing. Wow, that is a super slow bait. If you look at the side of it, it looks like there's some air bubbles inside the actual soft plastic. I don't know if that's a manufacturing defect or if that's how it's supposed to be, but it's a little odd to me how there's a couple little bubbles. Yeah, you can see it in the light right there. There's a couple little bubbles inside the soft plastic. Maybe that could be uttering the action or something, but yeah, you can see a little bit right there. But it looks fine. I mean, I'd fish this bait. It's slow. It's like really slow, but you know, they can really eat that sometimes. All right. Let's do one more. And yep, super flat. Goes straight down, but it just doesn't flutter. All right, here is the Berkley Havoc's flat dog. This one's kind of shaped like an oval. It's not a perfect circle. It looks like it gets really good action, but here's the thing. I put the hook through the thickest part of the Senko, or through the flat dog as possible. It looks like it's getting some pretty darn good action here. It looks like it's following pretty straight. It has a slight... It moves slightly to like the left. But hey, that's some pretty darn good action right there. This is definitely a fishable bait for me. Yep, there's some good action right there. All right, guys, the next bait is the Big Bite Baits Soft Super Salt Trick Stick. It's a huge name for such a simple bait. I'm gonna see if this stick bait here has the same action as a Senko. Let's see what happens. All right, here's the first cast. It's a nice slow with a little bit of a wobble. It does have a small little wobble. Let me shake off the air bubbles here. And yeah, it has a slight little wobble to it. It's not very bold. It's not a high action stick worm. But yeah, it has that little bit of a wobble towards the end here. This tank's about, I want to say like 1.5 feet deep. So if it starts getting that action, it only goes like 1 foot in the water till it gathers itself and starts shimmying. So that's still a really good thing. Yep, there's that little shimmy right at the end there. So we'll shimmy all the way down from that point. Yeah, I definitely fish this bait. Alright guys, my next bait is the BioSpawn ExoStick. This is the ExoStick Pro model. If you guys are subscribed to MTB, I'm sure you guys have gotten at least one of these. These things are great. I've caught fish with it. It's basically a stick bait that has a whole bunch of ribs to it. It has a different look. Sometimes throwing a stick bait that has a slightly different look is what the bass want. Maybe they've seen, they've seen 50 Senkos in the morning. 50 people have rolled by throwing Senkos. They're like, oh, I've seen it every single time. I know what it looks like. I know it's a trick. But if you throw something a little bit different, that might fool them into getting you a couple more bass in that day than the other anglers out there. So let's see if the BioSpawn Pro Exo Stick can hold up to the Yamamoto Senko. All right, here we go, first cast. Wow, look at that action. That has a ton of action on it. Wow, that's almost more action than a Yamamoto Senko. Wow, I'm super impressed with this thing. Wow, look at that. That's probably the reason why I'm catching so many fish on this thing. Wow, that is a ton of action. I didn't think it would do this good. Okay, it's definitely my #1 so far in replacing the Senko. Wow, yeah. There's a thin part, kind of 3/4 of the way in on the worm that helps it bend a lot. That helps a ton. Wow, that's a great looking stick bait. It's a little bit different, and that little bit of a difference can help you get that bite when all the fish have seen Senkos. All right, guys, our next bait is the Lucky Strike Pow Stick. This is a brand I haven't really worked with. I haven't fished any of their baits really, but it's a simple stick bait. You know, you don't need to be all that different sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. This one's just a regular stick bait. This is a 6-inch. So we're gonna see how it holds up. It looks like it's a little bit thinner than a Senko. I don't know how well it's gonna perform. Let's see how it does. All right, here is first cast. That is super slow. Really, really slow. Wow. That must take forever to get down into the water. But hey, look at it this way, guys. The longer it takes to sink, the longer it will be in the strike zone. Yes, it doesn't have really any wobble to it, but hey, the wobble's not everything. Again, sometimes the fish want it exactly like this. Sometimes you just got to have a lot of patience with it, and it will get you some bites. It doesn't have any action to it, but this definitely has its day. Yeah, that is almost painfully slow. Man, if you're fishing this in 20 feet of water, you're going to have a long time. But hey, I mean, it's still a good bait. I love throwing Senkos in like 10 feet of water, so the bass usually come up and pick it off. But yeah, this one's not bad. I would fish this one. Definitely. All right, guys, this is a classic bait that I'm sure all of you wacky rigging stickworm fishermen have heard of. This is the Reaction Innovations Pocket Rockets. These ones are awesome because I'm pretty sure they're specifically designed for wacky rigging because it has that little thin middle to it, but wider ends. So when you throw it out there, it should do that wobble back and forth. I have never seen one underwater. So we're gonna see if the classic Reaction Innovations Pocket Rockets will hold up to a Yamamoto Senko. All right, here's the first cast. Looking really good. Definitely has a ton of action to it. That little slender part in the middle really helps enable that action. Yep, this is a bait that's been around for a while, and I know a ton of people who absolutely love it. They do great in the summertime, all year in fact, but the summertime it really just shines for them. Wow. Yeah, that has a ton of action to it. I would definitely fish this bait all year round. And it has a pretty decent sink rate. It goes down pretty fast, so you can probably throw it in deeper water and not be waiting there forever. Yeah, amazing action. Definitely one of the top of the line baits out there for wacky rigging. Amazing action. All right, guys, yes, I've already done a Senko, but this is a little bit different. This is my all-time favorite Senko ever to fish. This is the Yamamoto Thin Senko. This is in 5-inch, so it's, I want to say it's like 3/4 or so smaller, thinner than an actual Senko, but I can't tell you how many fish I've caught with this thing. I bet you I've caught more fish on this than an actual Senko. I've just spent so much time fishing this thing because it falls slower and it has that wiggle to it, or at least I think. I've never seen it underwater, but I've smoked them on this thing. This thing just gets them. It's a lot lighter and it's a lot more, it's just nothing different about it, really. All that is it's thin. So let's see what it looks like underwater. All right, here's the thin Senko. Okay, if you look super closely, I know it's really hard to see, but it has a very, very small little wiggle to it. A little shimmy. There you go. You see that? That is the reason why this bait is one of my favorites. It's an exact Senko, just thin. It does everything a regular Senko does. Wow, look at that action here. This is a very, like, it's not intimidating at all. I've had tiny, like, super micro bass bite this thing, but I've also I caught like a 4-pounder the other day on this thing. These things are great. I love them. They do tear a lot, but hey, if it has that action, it's amazing. All right, guys, the next bait is the Bruiser Baits Stickworm. Hey, keep it simple. That's what I like. These are literally the same. Oh, it has a little bit of a cut in it. What I'm seeing is a little bit of a cut, kind of like a Yumdinger. It has that little bit of a cut in it, so if you want to Texas rig it, you can sink that hook inside that little cut in the worm so it stays even more weedless. I have never had a problem with it. This bait, I've never had a problem with it, with that little tiny little cut in it. I know fishermen who hate it, who think it's stupid, and it psychologically gets in their head where they can't fish it. And, you know, fishing is a psychological game. If you don't like it, if you personally don't like it, you're not going to catch any fish with it. Here's the thing. I never cared. I've caught fish with it. It never really seemed to matter to me. And I've always wacky rigged it, so I never even used it. But it should work. So let's see if it has that action like a Yamamoto Senko. All right, here's the first cast. Let me shake off the air bubbles here. All right, look at that thing go. Does not look like it has much action to it. It has a little bit of a wobble to it, which is good. I think that's like that's like a perfect speed for it. It's not too fast and it's not too slow. This is something, it's like an all-around good stick bait right here. Yeah, maybe not on that cast. It definitely wiggled a little bit. All right, let's see about this one. Yeah, it looked like it floated again. No, doesn't look like it has any action to it, really. Maybe it just needs a minute to soak in some water or something. All right, here it comes. It doesn't look like it has any action to it. But I've caught fish on this bait. This thing has a perfect flat fall to it. It goes straight down. It doesn't like slide like a left or right or anything like that. a good even fall. That's what you want, people. That is probably one of the most important things about stick bait. Besides that, it's the wiggle, but the wiggle's not everything. When it falls and it's flat, that's the best. Alright guys, this is a little bit of an unheard brand, but it's the Doomsday Tackle Roku. This one, it has like ribs on it, but it has some flat sides to it, which is odd. But this is a stick bait too, so it should have that wobbling look to it. Let's see how it compares. Alright, here we go. Wow, look at the action on that thing. That is a really good fall right there. Alright, let's try it again. Wow, that has some great action to it. And these are a lot thinner than an actual Senko. They're not as thin as a thin Senko, but it's like right in the middle. Wow, that has some great action to it. I never thought these would be this good. Yeah, look at that. It needs like a second for it to figure out itself. But guys, let me remind you, I'm fishing this with a Gamakatsu Finesse wide gap hook in a size 1 and 6 pound test line. I'm not giving it any tension. I'm letting it fall on completely slack line, just so it gives it all the ability to make its action for us. But man, this one looks like it's doing amazing. Alright guys, I have 3 different Strike King stickworms to show you guys, but we're going to start off with this one. This is the Strike King Zero, or Z2. I think it's just Zero. This one has ElazTech. It's made with ElazTech, so it should be super stretchy, and it should last you like 100 fish like classic ZMan products do. But it looks like I can see right now, there's a whole bunch of salt grains in it, all over it and stuff, so let's see how this compares to the Senko. Alright, these things have a special feature to it. It's made with ElazTech, so you can pull it super, super far. If the fish bites the end of it, he doesn't rip off the end. It just stretches extremely far. The thing is, when you stretch it out, it lets out that salt that's in the middle. So I like to think of it when it bites the worm, it slowly releases the salt through and through, which is a great thing. So let's give this a shot. It looks like it's falling to the right. It looks like it's not falling directly down. Yeah, it's definitely falling to one side. That is going to be a problem, unfortunately. That, I do not like that. I don't like it when a Senko falls like that. I need the Senko to fall straight down and with either no action or some shimmy, a little bit of action to it. All right, let's see right here. Yeah, look, it looks like it's falling to the right. It's falling on the skinny side of the worm. That is not my favorite. I wouldn't really fish this. Yes, it will last 100 fish, but if it has the action like that, it won't be my favorite. Alright guys, here is our next Strike King worm. This is the Strike King Shimmy Stick. This is one that's really known for being at Walmart. You can find these at Walmarts all over the country. These are one of those nothing different stickworms. There's nothing different about it. It's exactly the same shape, it's the same look as a classic Senko. But the thing is, they're significantly cheaper. So if I can throw this in this aquarium here and it has a really good action to it, I might just switch to these because these are super cheap. And if they look the same, then hey, why not? All right, let's see how this looks. A nice slow fall. It goes straight down. I'm not seeing much action to it. It doesn't look like it has much of a shimmy. Let's switch to a different angle here. Oh, it looks like it has a tiny little bit of a shimmy to it. That's awesome. Yeah, no. Okay, if it does have some action to it, it's very little. It occasionally wiggles. That one didn't have any action to it. But hey, it goes straight down and it falls flat. That is huge. That's what you want right there. Let's see again. It has a slight wiggle to it. That's good. Alright guys, here is my absolute favorite Strike King stickworm. This is the Strike King Ocho. I've heard hundreds of people have like won tournaments on this thing. This is a very comparable worm to the Senko, but the thing is, this is slightly different because it has flat sides to it. It's almost like a pentagon or like an octagon, whatever it is. These ones, I got in a 5-inch. This one's a KVD Magic, so this one's supposed to be KVD's favorite, I guess. So these ones, I've caught fish with it. They're great. They do tear a little bit more easier. And honestly, guys, if it catches me fish, I don't care if I go through 30 of them. I just want to catch fish, you know? So it doesn't really matter too much to me on what the material is. It just matters if it catches fish. So let's see if this thing has the same wobble as the Senko. All right, here's the Ocho. There's that shimmy. There is the money right there. That's what you want. It shimmies back and forth on both sides. That's what you want right there. So I've caught a lot of fish on it. This thing, it doesn't have the strongest plastic in the world, but hey, it has one of the greatest actions in the world. Yeah, there it is. There's the action. If you look on one side's a little fatter than the other. The side with the point on it has a little bit more meat on it. That's odd, but hey, it falls flat and it wiggles like that. So hey, whatever it is, it works just fine. See a couple more throws. There's that action that you want right there. It starts with that action pretty immediately. Right when it hits the water, it starts making that action. That's a great thing to have, guys. Definitely. All right, guys, I know there's a whole bunch of other Senko videos out there, and the most compared stick worm is the Yumdinger. This one is literally the brother to the Senko. It is nothing special, classic stick bait, except it has that little cut in it, kind of like the Strike King Shimmy stick. This one, it's nothing different. Again, it's nothing different. I got it in green pumpkin, but the little hole, that little cut in it, is a little bit longer, you know, than other brands that have that little cut in it. It's made specifically to, well, the worm's not made specifically to Texas rig, but it has that little cut in it for Texas rigging. What you do is when you Texas rig it, you put the hook through and you sink that hook into that little cut in there, so it makes it even more weedless. Now, guys, I'm a wacky rig guy. I rarely fish a Texas rig. I only fish a Texas rig when it goes through brush, when I'm dragging it on the bottom and stuff like that. But this one would be a really good one to Texas rig. All right, here is the famous Yumdinger here. Has a little bit of action on that fall. It should have a lot more action here. It didn't have a lot of action on that one either. There's the action. That's the action that you want. It might have taken a couple throws before it starts working. There it is. That's what you want. See, this one is basically identical to a Senko. The only thing is it doesn't have as much salt as the actual Senko. So this thing, it's a very cheap alternative. It looks exactly like a Senko, but our goal is to see if there's something better or even comparable. This one's very comparable. This one's almost exactly like it. I think the BioSpawn ExoStick Pro is better, but hey, there's a worm for every situation here. This one has great action, a great fall. It has the same fall rate as a Senko and everything. It's basically identical, just with a little less salt. All right, this one's for all you fishermen who are having a really hard time out on the lake throwing stick baits. I've been on lakes before where I will just smoke them on stick baits. Then the next day, nothing happens. And like, you don't know why it turned off. You can't figure it out why. This one is the Berkley Powerbait Maxscent. This is that little difference that helps me get that bite because it has that super strong smell. Do not open this up in your house. Please, do not open this up in your house. It will ruin your day and probably ruin your week because it smells so bad. But that's a good thing because that's what you need. This has the most amount of scent that I've ever smelled on any bait before. So this is the General. This worm is a classic stick bait, nothing different about it. Let's see if this thing can hold up to the Yamamoto Senko. All right, here is the General in action. Wow, look at the action on that thing. That one has some really high-speed action to it. Oh my gosh, look at that. That worm has probably the most, like, craziest action there. It doesn't have that wide of an action, but has a very, very fast action to it. This will be great for the summer. This action is, I'm thinking it's perfect for the summer. You can fish it all year round. The winter, you can smoke them in the winter, but I love baits with a ton of action in the summer because the bass are so much more willing to go after it. This bait would be great in the summer on like a hard day where for some reason they're not biting. It's like post-frontal conditions or something like that. This one will definitely be the way to go. This one has amazing action. I would definitely fish this one. All right, guys, this next bait is the ZMan Zinkerz. I've heard great things about this because these things can stretch super far. So this is like 100 fish on one bait type of bait. I have never fished this one before. I've heard great things about it though. It looks exactly like a Senko. It looks salty as a Senko, but let's see if it wiggles like a Senko. All right, here's the Zinker. It is super stretchy. It's made with that ElazTech just like the Zero. Let's see how this one falls here. Oh, it falls to the side. Oh, it falls to the side a little too much, I think. Yeah, I mean, look, it has a slight little shimmy to it. Maybe it just needs to figure it out. Maybe it just needs a longer time to figure it out. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, but it does have a little wiggle to it. It's just, I feel like it's very, very similar to the Zero. It's like, looks the same, it feels the same, same material, same action, basically. Yeah, it definitely falls pointy side first. But hey, if you can get the fish to bite it, if you find a bite where they're biting this thing will last you forever. This next bait I am the most excited about. This is the Keitech Salty Core Stick. I have never known Keitech made stick baits. This is super awesome because the Keitech Fat Paddle Tail is probably the Sanko version of the paddle tails. It catches fish. You can rig it any way you want. I've used it hundreds of different ways. It catches fish no matter what. These things have the exact same scent and the exact same amount of saltiness as a Keitech usually does. So we're going to see if this thing has the same action as a Sanko. All right, here is the Salty Core Stick. It is a 4.5-inch bait. It's kind of smaller. It has a very subtle action to it. I can definitely tell that it has a shimmy to it. It's not very bold. Yeah, look closely. It has a little bit of a shimmy. Let's see if this one does it better. This one does it a lot better right here. See, there is a shimmy to it. That is great. That's really great. It's a light bait, so it's probably not going to cast super far, but man, look at that action right there. That is what you want. This is a perfect finesse one. This one has a ton of salt in it, so if the fish bites it, it'll hold on to it and has a good amount of action where I'm sure you can use it anytime during the year and it'll work just fine. This is definitely a good color as well. Yep, there's that action you want. All right, guys, this next bait is the Bass Pro Shops Tournament Series Stik-O worm. These things, I've caught fish with them all the time. These baits are really cheap. It comes in like a 16-pack, and it's for the price of like a regular bag of Sankos. So you can get a ton for your buck. These ones, I have it in a green pumpkin. These ones, I've heard great things like they have that wobble to it. I've never seen one underwater. I fished them, never seen what it really looked like underwater. I've caught fish with them all the time though. So let's see how it works. All right, here is the Stik-O. There's definitely some good action right there. There it is. That's a great action. I would say that's pretty much the same as the Yumdinger and like the Sanko. Good amount of action to it. It does not have as much salt. It's basically like the Yumdinger. Doesn't have as much salt as the actual Yamamoto Senko, but it has about the same amount of action, as the Yumdinger, and it comes in some great colors too. This one's actually a watermelon red flake. And that wobble really just makes those red flakes shine. That's really good. Yeah, look at that action right there. That's what you want. And great part is you get a bunch of them in one pack. It's like 16 of them. All right, guys, this next bait I'm super excited about. This is the Zoom Fluke Stick Junior. This is awesome because it has the tail of a fluke on the back. And guys, my lake, the lakes near me are like shad lakes. The shad are everywhere all year round. The bass only, like pretty much only eat shad. So they go after shad baits like crazy. So throwing a stick bait like this with that little bit of a fluke, little tail on the back should do great. Guys, these are some great baits. I've caught fish with them. Let's see if they have that classic wobble though. All right, so I'm going to put the hook right in the middle of this little fluke style stick bait here. So now the tail it's like horizontal. It's not vertical. There's vertical, so it's horizontal right now. So let's see how this works out. Has a good even fall. Doesn't look like it has really any action to it. If it does, it's a very small amount of action, but it's a good even fall. That's a really good thing to have. Let's see. It has a little bit. That tail looks like it definitely makes the back flicker back and forth. There we go. See, it did have a little bit of action right there. That tail does help just a little bit. but it's a good even fall. I love that. Guys, I know this is not a stick bait. This is the Roboworm larger size Ned Worm. It's not designed to wobble. I'm pretty darn sure it's not. I'm pretty darn sure it's only designed to fish with like Ned rigs and like maybe Texas rig it, but I thought I'd give it a try. Maybe it wobbles. Who knows? I have a lot of confidence in Roboworm baits, so if this thing can wobble, that'd be really awesome. All right, guys, this is the larger size Ned Worm. This is specifically meant for Ned rigging, but we're gonna see if it can work as a regular stick bait as well. All right, it looks like it has a perfectly good fall. I'm really surprised. Has a great fall to it, but it does not look like it shimmies. It doesn't look like it has any action to it. And yes, guys, this is meant for Ned rigging, but we're gonna check out and see what it can do weightless. Oh, it has a great lift to it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it doesn't look like it has any wiggle to it. It doesn't look like it has any action to it. A very flat fall. That's super nice. That is really nice to have. Guys, Roboworm comes in millions of different colors, so if you need like a stick bait that doesn't have any action that falls perfectly, Roboworm larger size Ned Worm might be your go-to for this, because look at that fall. That's really nice. It doesn't have the wiggle, unfortunately, but that's still a great bait to throw weightless. All right, guys, that is 20 different stick baits for you. Guys, let me know in the comments down below if I missed any. If there's a stick bait that you love that wasn't on my wall here or wasn't tested, let me know so I can try it in an upcoming video maybe. And guys, let me know down below, what's your favorite stick bait? What bait do you think is the best that is not the Yamamoto Senko? Which one do you think is the best that stands up and replaces the Senko? And guys, be sure to click this video right here. This is a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and also click right here. This is to subscribe to my channel. And guys, let me know down below what you want to see. I really want to do a whole bunch of different types of bait tests for you guys, so let me know down in the comments what you want to see. So guys, keep your eyes out for an upcoming video. We'll see you later.